Right. Good afternoon and welcome back to the afternoon session. This is our public hearing portion of the Board of County Commission meetings, May 13th, 2025. If you would be so kind to take a moment and silence your cell phones, any other electronic devices that you might have. Quick reminder, if you're here to speak on any of the items today, there are forms out in the lobby. If you'll fill those out, put your information on it along with the item that you desire to speak on. If you don't desire to speak on it, you'll fill the green sheet out, which is public comments in written format, and so we can have those here at the board, and give those to Ms. Dominique, the clerk right here with her hand up. That way we can efficiently get through the process. Right now I'm going to go to the County Attorney, Ms. Kate Latour, for the rules of public engagement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While the board welcomes comments from all persons with an interest in these proceedings, Florida law requires that the board's decision in quasi-judicial actions be supported by competent, substantial evidence presented to the board during the hearings on the applications. Competent, substantial evidence is such evidence as a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be a factual basis in the record to support opinion testimony from both expert and non-expert witnesses. Persons presenting testimony may rely on factual information that they present, information presented by county staff, information the applicant presented, or on factual information included in the county staff report to support their testimony. All persons who present written materials to the board for consideration must ensure that a copy of such materials is provided to the clerk for inclusion in the board's record of the proceedings and the official minutes. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Latour. Reminder that on item number 35 today, which is, or 34, which is a 35, Seminole Science Charter School Interlocal Agreement, and 34, both of those, these are continuances, and we are going to take testimony on new information only, not rehashing what's already been said. So if you've spoken at the previous hearing on this item, we will take input from the public on any new testimony based on new information only. We're not rehashing what's already been discussed. With that said, I will look for proof of publication, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Ex parte disclosure. We'll start on my right with Commissioner Hurd. Please disclose any ex parte.
It has all been submitted electronically, Chairman.
Thank you. Mine has been submitted electronically as well.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of items here that I'm going to be submitting to the clerk as we speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
I submitted mine electronically.
Thank you.
Mine was submitted electronically except for a recent phone call from Erica Donalds on item number 34 supporting the applicant.
Very good. All right, we will move to our first item, which is item number 31, nuisance abatement declaration. This will be presented by Liz Parkhurst. Staff will present this, and if there is an applicant who wishes to speak, we will hear from the applicant. Once that's completed, we will go to public comment. Once that's completed, we will close the public comment and go to board action. Ms. Parkhurst?
Liz Parkhurst, Building Division. Item number 31 is a request for an order to be imposed declaring an unoccupied structure located at 2321 Broadway in Sanford a public nuisance and require corrective action to be taken by the record property owners. On December 10th, 2024, and again on April 8th, 2025, the board issued a notice of determination of public nuisance for the non-occupied structure. This notice ordered that the structure be repaired or rebuilt in compliance with the Florida Building Code or be abated through demolition. To date, no corrective action has been taken, and there continues to be a steady decline in the condition of the property. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide the record property owners the opportunity to appear before the board to state why the structure does not create a public nuisance and why the property should not be abated. Pursuant to Chapter 168, Seminole County Code, notice of this hearing was provided to the record property owners by the following. On April 11, 2025, the first-class mail and certified letter were mailed to the record property owners. Certified mail receipt was returned listing delivery date of April 14, 2025, and as of this date, the first-class mail has not been returned. The property was posted on April 11, 2025, with the notice of hearing and notice of determination of public nuisance, along with the copies of the summons for each record owner. On April 24, 2025, the Monmouth County, New Jersey Sheriff's Office served the summons to appear along with the notice of determination to the listed address of the record property owners as indicated by the property appraiser's office. Additionally, in an attempt to provide service to any of the record property owners who may reside in the area, the notice of termination of public nuisance was published in Sanford Herald with proof of publication submitted to Commission records. Both county staff and the area code enforcement officer spoke with the family's representative, Ms. Faye Pringle, explaining the situation with the hazardous structure. Ms. Pringle stated that they are not financially able to remove the structure. Staff recommends that the board issue an order declaring the unoccupied structure a public nuisance and require corrective action be taken by June 13, 2025. In the event that the record property owners do not take corrective action by June 13, 2025, it's further recommended that the board direct staff to abate the public nuisance. The building official is here and available for any questions, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Parkhurst. Any inquiries by the board? Seeing none, is the applicant here or the property owner wish to make any statements? Property owner is not present. No representative of the property owner is present. Okay. Do we have any public comment on this?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we will close the public input portion and go to District Commissioner. Commissioner Hurd, this is your district.
Chairman, I move that we adopt a resolution issuing an order to declare the existence of a public nuisance at 2321 Broadway, Sanford, and require corrective action by June 13, 2025, and authorize necessary corrective action by the county in the event the nuisance is not abated by the record owners.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second by Constantine. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item is item 32, Winter Springs Duncan PD Major Amendment Rezone. This will be presented by Ms. Caitlin Apgar, Senior Planner. Ms. Apgar?
Hello, good afternoon. Caitlin Apgar, Planning and Development Services. The applicant is requesting the approval for a rezone from PD Plan Development to PD Plan Development to allow for a restaurant with a drive-through facility located on the northeast corner of Red Bug Lake Road and Dodd Road. The existing future land use is Plan Development and the existing zoning is PD. The current PD is the ZOM Development Incorporated Red Bug Lake Road Plan Development. The existing site is approximately 0.51 acres and located in the Commercial Tract 2 in the north parcel of the existing PD. The site was previously developed as a bank with a drive-through facility. The applicant proposes to redevelop the existing site from a bank to a Dunkin' Donuts restaurant with a drive-through. Restaurants are permitted, however, drive-through restaurants specifically are not permitted under the existing entitlements. The existing PD is approximately 50 acres in total and consists of a mix of uses including multifamily, office, and C1 retail commercial uses. The current request only pertains to the subject property and not the entirety of Commercial Tract 2. This is also known as Lot 3 of the Walmart Neighborhood Market at Red Bug Village subdivision, as highlighted in the slide. The proposed amendments to the PD specific to the subject property are as follows. The development order and developer's commitment agreement specify that drive-through restaurants are not permitted. This request proposes the use to be allowed on the subject property only. The hours of operation are currently 7 to 11 p.m. The proposed hours are to extend the morning hours to 5 a.m. The Land Development Code specifies that PDs should adhere to the greater benefit and innovation criteria and remain consistent with the comprehensive plan. As a summary, the benefits of this development include the contribution of development aimed to serve the large residential populations in the surrounding area. The proposed development is in close proximity to the multifamily component of the subject PD to the north, multifamily development to the west, single-family developments to the north and east, and thus provide a higher opportunity for pedestrian accessibility to the site. The proposed development is also providing bicycle parking, which contributes to the multimodal transportation intent of the PD zoning. The site is located within Seminole County's utility service area and is currently connected to water and sewer. 30% open space will be provided on the subject site as required per the most recently approved developer's commitment agreement. The proposed project will be required to provide a 15-foot wide buffer to the south, abutting Red Bug Lake Road. Dodd Road is considered a collector road, which requires a 15-foot landscape buffer based on the intensity of the projects in accordance with the Seminole County Land Development Code. The subject site is part of an existing shopping center and has access onto Dodd Road and Red Bug Lake Road. This is via shared access agreement. The applicant has provided shared parking agreements for the use of parking spaces on the adjacent property. The general internal traffic flow is proposed to remain the same as how the site has been operating historically. Required parking will be met on-site and with those shared parking agreements from the adjacent Walmart site. In compliance with Seminole County Land Development Code, Section 30.49, Community Meeting Procedures, the applicant conducted a community meeting on December 4th, 2024. Details of that meeting have been provided in the agenda package. The Planning and Zoning Board met on March 5th, 2025, and voted unanimously to recommend approval. Staff finds a request to be consistent with the Seminole County Land Development Code and compatible with the trend of development in the area. Staff requests the Board of County Commissioners adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from PD plan development to PD plan development for a restaurant with a drive-through facility on approximately 0.51 acres located on the northeast corner of Red Bug Lake Road and Dodd Road. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any inquiries? Seeing none, is the applicant here and desire to make a presentation?
Good afternoon. Applicant is here. This is Brian Forster with Land Design. We have no presentation. We agree with the staff's
You'll
recommendations.
give us your address for the record?
Yes, 100 South Orange Avenue, Orlando, Florida, 32801.
And the name again?
Brian Forster.
Okay. So you have no presentation?
No, sir, we agree
Okay.
with staff's recommendations. Just, we're
Fair
here
enough.
to answer any questions, and so is the representative from the developer.
Fair enough. Great. Thank you very much. Stand by. Public input. Any public input on this matter?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close public input and we'll go to board action. This is my district. I would look for one of my fellow commissioners to make a motion. I would, as a district commissioner, agree with staff's findings.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Constantine had his hand up. Sorry.
Despite the fact that Mr. Forster did not bring any donuts,
He's just watching out for our waistline.
I will move the approval of the plan development for a restaurant with a drive-through facility on approximately .051 acres located northeast corner of Red Bug Road and Dodd Road.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Next item up is item 33, 2825 Walden's Pond Cove Special Exception. This will be presented by Ms. Hillary Payden.
Good afternoon, Hillary Payden, Planning and Development. This item is a request for a special exception at 2825 Walden's Pond Cove for an existing assisted living facility located within the Mandarin subdivision in Longwood to increase from 6 to 8 residents in the A1 zoning district located on 1 acre on the west side of Walden Pond Cove. The assisted living facility, known as Arrow Senior Care, employs 4 staff members to provide around-the-clock care for their non-driving elderly residents. The structure is 2,393 square feet, 4-bedroom, single-family residential. The applicant's intent is to have 2 residents for each bedroom without any structural modifications to the facility. In compliance with the Seminole County Land Development Code, the applicant conducted a community meeting on December 21st, 2024. Details of the community meeting are in your agenda package. Per the Land Development Code, certain criteria must be met for the Board of County Commissioners to approve a special exception request. Staff finds that the request only meets 2 of the 10 criteria. The facility currently housing 6 residents is within an existing single-family residential subdivision and is in character with typical occupancy and use in the single-family subdivision and precluded by Florida statute from zoning regulations. Approval of the special exception allowing for 8 residents would then deem the facility non-residential and may trigger additional requirements for changes to the property and the structure to make it align with the commercial use facilities such as parking and sprinkler systems. The existing trend of development for the area is suburban estate, single-family residential in character, and therefore it would not be compatible with a higher resident count facility. The additional residents would incur additional trips by employees, visitors, medical professionals, ambulance transportation, and other vehicular traffic through this residential subdivision to support the additional residents' needs. Therefore, it would create unduly adverse effects on traffic patterns, movements, and volumes through the subdivision. This property is located on an interior local road of an established suburban estate, single-family residential subdivision without the means of easy access to public infrastructure to support this level of an assisted living facility use. The comprehensive plan intends for the property to act as a buffer between urban development and rural area and not for a non-residential facility, and therefore it's not consistent with the comp plan. In addition to the imposition of additional traffic upon the residents and the subdivision, the proposed increase of residents would require the assisted living facility to conform to additional standards, such as parking, that would create the appearance of a commercial facility while located within a single-family subdivision. Therefore, the granting of the special exception would adversely affect the public interest. Section 30.6.10.3 of the Land Development Code states that assisted living facilities may be approved by the BCC as the special exception, provided that in addition to all the other findings, that the location does not create an over-concentration of such homes or substantially alter the nature and character of the area. Although the location doesn't create an over-concentration, Florida statutes 419.001 subsection 3C3 states that homes that are located within 500 feet of a single-family zoning substantially alters the nature and character of the area. This facility is surrounded by single-family homes within an established community. The additional requirements of the facility with over 6 beds creates additional standards to comply with, causing the nature and character of the single-family home within the developed subdivision to be altered. The existing structure currently is 2,393 square feet, and the applicant's not proposing to expand it. Therefore, the proposed structure is compatible with the area and its physical size. The proposed increase in beds for this assisted living facility would require commercial use standards that would not be in character with the rural zoning classification. It would create additional traffic to the location that would be intensive in nature and not compatible with the concept of low-density rural land use. The subject property is serviced by Sunshine Water and has a septic system in place. Sunshine Water provided a letter verifying service to the address. The Florida Department of Health issued a letter approving the request for an increase to 8 beds. Therefore, the property does have access to adequate levels of public service. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on April 2nd, 2025, and voted unanimously to recommend the Board of County Commissioners deny the special exception. 7 letters of opposition were received from property owners within the subdivision and provided to the board in your agenda packets for your consideration. Staff requests the Board of County Commissioners deny the special exception and associated development order for an 8-bed assisted living facility in the A1 zoning district on 1 acre located on the east side of Walden Pond Cove. This concludes my presentation on the bill. For any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Payton. I'm not sure she stopped to take a breath in that presentation. Good work. Any inquiries? No inquiries from staff. Is the applicant here and desire to make a presentation? Please come forward. And if you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, good afternoon. Carol McIntyre, 2825 Walden Ponds Cove, Arrow Scenic here, partnered with by Majestic Residence, and we're just going to proceed with our presentation at this time.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioner. My name is Chuck Bongiovanni. I'm the CEO of Majestic Residences franchise system. I'm also a city council member in Arizona, and I got to tell you, this is a humbling experience being on the other side of the dais.
If you'd give us your address, please.
Sure. 2053 East Sanoke Boulevard in Gilbert, Arizona.
And our weather's much better here, by the way.
It's a little more humid. I can take the heat over the humidity, but I still love it here.
All right, go ahead and proceed, sir.
Excuse me. So Arrow's Senior Care by Majestic Residence has been in business for approximately 2 years, but this facility has been in the community for 11 years. So it's been in this residential neighborhood for all that time without any kind of problems from the neighborhood or concerns. Our homes are lived in by seniors who can't take care of themselves. It's a non-medical facility, which means if people need medical care, it's performed by certified medical home health professionals. There we go. Okay. Again, it's non-medical care for our seniors. They live together, kind of like you would see the Golden Girls in that TV show, but we have staff 24 hours a day. We have one staff member per shift, so we're not talking about a lot of cars on the property. The property itself can handle 10 cars. We average 2 cars, which is similar to any residential home in the neighborhood. The heart of the community is the living room where everyone comes together and has activities. We dine together, and we have activities together as a group. We aren't considering any kind of changes to the home itself. We're just asking for 2 of our large bedrooms to have permission to go from 1 resident to 2 residents. It's all within Florida regulations. The rooms are large enough for 2 residents. As far as the effect of the neighborhood, again, this facility has been in the neighborhood for 11 years. We're talking the request for 2 more residents. To give you an idea of traffic, in January, we had 24 visitors in our community. In February, we had 30. In March, we had 23. And in April, we had 30. Most residential homes just in the neighborhood is going to have Uber Eats. They're going to have Amazon. I know my house has Amazon and Uber Eats probably every single day. So we're not saying that there's going to be a major change in traffic flow. 2 more residents. If the seniors have 1 visit per week by a family member, we're talking 16 possible more visits within the neighborhood, and only 16. I don't want to get people confused when we say residential or when we say assisted living facility. Most people think of big communities with ambulances and hundreds of people parking. We're talking a small residential home in a residential neighborhood with 2 cars in the driveway. And maybe the seniors get 1 visit per week by family members. I wish they had more, but they don't. We've already seen precedents here in this county with All-Star Senior Living. Senior Assisted Living has 13 residents and was approved for 13 residents. Whoops, sorry. The neighborhood concerns, again, I kind of addressed with traffic. 2 extra residents does not create an unreasonable traffic experience. One visit in, 1 visit out, usually per week. We had another concern about having people in semi-private rooms instead of private rooms. That happens all over the state of Florida in residential care. Sometimes people have private rooms, sometimes they have semi-private rooms. And the 2 rooms that we are considering making semi-private rooms are well over the square footage that's allowed by Florida to have for semi-private rooms. We do appreciate the neighborhood's concerns, but we also understand that we believe that it's a misconception of the business model itself. This is not a big assisted living community. In conclusion, the home's been an active part of this neighborhood since 2014. It's been 11 years and it's been there. We service a vulnerable population, which, under the Federal Fair Housing Act, they're protected. We also serve Florida Medicaid clients, which is a underserved population also. So our request, we believe, is within reason. 2 more residents, 2 more families that we can help. And Carol, if you wanted to add anything to it.
I think in our last gathering, some of our neighbors didn't even know that we were there. So we have very minimal effect on the neighborhood. So again, our request, I believe, is very, very reasonable. And someone may say, why 8? One of the main reasons is to secure our employees. Florida state regulation, the ratio is 1 to 5, 1 staff member to 5 residents. We are approved for 6. So once we get to 6, we have to hire an extra staff. If that staff member if a resident dies or relocates, then we're back to 5. So that's extra staff member. We don't have the wherewithal in our budget to sustain them or keep them on staff, so sometimes we have to let them go. Moving to 8 will give us a lot more security in with our staffing, and it takes a lot of time and effort and resources to train staff for this vulnerable population. Again, our request is within reason. We're not doing modifications to the home. All we're doing is adding 2 extra beds.
That it? Thank you very much. If you'll stand by. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, if you'll have a seat, please.
Thank you.
Ms. Dominique, do we have some public speakers on this item?
Yes, sir, there are 2 speakers.
Okay, when we call your names, if you all will just line up and we'll get you up here to the podium. Please call the names.
Evelyn Bennett and David Bennett.
Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, I suspect. Name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Evelyn Bennett, 413 Lakeshore Drive, Lake Mary, Florida.
Please proceed.
My mother-in-law lives in this facility, which is a safe and very comforting place for her to live. I really hope that this facility can continue to be in business in order for her to get the care that she needs, as she has Alzheimer's and she is wheelchair bound, and it is very difficult for us to care for her, and she gets excellent care at this facility. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bennett, I think you're next, sir.
Okay.
Feel free to pull that microphone down in front of you so we can hear you. I noticed that.
That's okay. We've been like that for 40-some years, so it doesn't bother either one of us. I'd just like to say that my mother does reside there. She has resided there for 3 years. I'm there, let's just say I'm probably 3 or 4 miles away. I am totally satisfied with the care that she gets. She's 98 years old. I have never seen any traffic problems as I go there or leave there, even on holidays. I can't stress enough what a good facility this is and how they do take care of the people that need the care the most. So all I can say is, all in favor, you should really consider passing this request. It's in everyone's best interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Any other public speakers on this item?
No, sir.
No written comments?
No, sir.
All right, we'll close public comment and we'll go to board action. Commissioner Herb, this is your district.
So this is my district. I have some questions for staff.
Okay, Ms. Payton?
First of all, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for your public comment. Do we have safety concerns or just parking concerns?
It's just more so the appearance to the outwardly public, to inundate the public. It's not a safety issue.
And so
they would be required to sprinkle once they exceed the 6. So that may address that safety issue.
So there is a safety concern.
Not, okay.
Ma'am?
You can't do that.
Ma'am, you can't be speaking unless we ask you to come up.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So if that was a safety concern, that would be addressed with the special exception. But from what it sounds like, they already have that. But no, it's not a safety concern.
And so I have a question for the applicant then.
The applicant would come up, whichever.
Yes, ma'am.
So, non-medical facility, clearly you're doing memory care. Yes. And what is the cycle of visitation outside of family visitation, but for physicians, nurses, therapists, et cetera, et cetera?
We have a physician who comes once per month. We have the podiatrist who comes every 3 months. Home health for physical therapy, we may have 2 visits per week. But that's it.
So that's 10-ish plus the 2 per family. So in other words, your cycle for care giving outside of the visitation of the family members would not change.
No.
At the point that folks come into your care, you're not a medical facility, but they are signing over that you are going to be the facilitator of medical visitations and all of that.
Yes.
You're doing all of that. They're no longer bringing in their own providers, et cetera.
Correct.
So the facility is managing all of that. So the additional traffic concern for 2 additional people, that physician's going to see them while he's there, or that PT is going to see them while they're there.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have people doubled up now, right?
Yes.
So you're just doubling up 2 additional bedrooms?
Yes, and the master bedroom is one of the main rooms that we're doubling up, yes.
And when staff is there, what are they doing on their shift?
Staff, we have an 8 to 8 shift, and the overnight shift, we have a separate quarters.
So you're running three shifts a day?
2 shifts per day.
2 shifts a day? And so is somebody sleeping there? Is staff sleeping?
8 a.m. to 8 p.m., yes.
Okay. So staff's not bringing in additional visitors in the night shift either?
Absolutely not.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question for staff. Can you review real quick the statement you made? Only 2 of the 10 provisions or requirements have been met. Can you tell us what the ones, specifically the ones that have not been met?
That have not been met. If we go back to there's 3 slides of, keep going, of the special exception criteria.
And part and parcel of that, will any of these be addressed if it moves to 2 more people?
Would it be addressed? I'm sorry.
Correct. Would these be addressed if 2 more individuals were in the beds?
Would the issue, the non-compatibility be addressed?
Correct.
Well, we found that it would just have the increase of traffic with ambulances and things like that. And so we felt like inside a developed single-family residential subdivision, it just wasn't compatible. They would be required to have parking, which, based on their testimony, they have plenty of parking. So those issues would be met. But it was more so about the comings and goings of additional people, additional family, additional ambulances.
And planning and zoning voted unanimously to deny this project?
Yes.
Okay.
There were people here in attendance that night who were opposed that are not here today.
Sure. Okay, that's all the questions I have. Mr. Delory?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm so sorry. I was waiting to hear what the items were that were not met. Did you ever get to read those?
No, I didn't.
I
But
was
like, I just kind of summarized it in basically saying that
Yeah.
What
ones
page
that.
are they on so that we can read them?
I don't have a copy of the agenda. I'm sorry, I don't know what
Could
page.
someone read it for us,
But
please?
it's
I can
just
tell you.
throughout my staff report, and it's on the screen, so those are the standards that have to be met. So as far as it meeting with the rural zoning classification, go back one.
Attorney Borkert is trying to weigh in. Ms. Borkert, do you have?
Sure. The staff report pages where the staff findings are pages 793 through 795. There are the items that are not met, according to staff, is, number one, it was found detrimental to the character of the neighborhood because the addition of two additional residents would deem the structure non-residential and would would therefore make it have to meet commercial use facility requirements, which she talked about, parking, sprinkler systems. It was found to have number two would create unduly adverse impacts on the traffic patterns and movements through the subdivision, and Ms. Payton touched on that. Consistency with the comprehensive plan. I think it was found to be consistent with the comprehensive plan designation on the property. It was found to adversely affect the public interest for the reasons that were previously talked about, it tripping the commercial requirements in a residential area. And then the other findings were, it wasn't found, this one was not, did meet, it doesn't result in an over concentration of these residents because there isn't another one within the 500 feet. And the proposed structure is compatible as far as physical size.
Thank you. The commercial portion, I wanted to make sure I heard that. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I had,
Mr. Delory.
in the presentation of staff and also the applicant, I heard conflicting comments and then corrected, and I just wanted to go over it again. At one point, you said that it would have to be sprinkled, and the applicant said it didn't need to be sprinkled. Does it need to be sprinkled or not?
If it goes over 6, then the fire code would require it to be sprinkled. What the applicant said was that it's already sprinkled.
Already
Okay, I did not hear already. Okay. Number two, the question I had was the bathrooms. There are enough restrooms, because I see two bathrooms only for more than 8. I mean, there's going to be 8 people living there plus
Staff.
So what is the determination on that?
Unfortunately, that's not in our code, is to determine how many restrooms are required for an assisted living facility.
Okay.
That's if I may, Commissioners, that's a state requirement. It'll be reviewed by the state at the time it goes to them if these 2 additional residents are approved. But
Okay.
as far as occupancy and square footage and stuff like that, that's set by the state.
So it meets the requirements physically?
You're asking me if it meets the requirements physically?
Yes, I am.
Under currently, with the 6 people or with the 8 people?
When they want to go to 8, does it meet the requirement physically for 8?
You would need to ask the applicant that, as far as what the state requirements are.
Okay. Can someone address that here in this room?
Applicant, please feel free to come up.
We have 3 restrooms in the home, which does meet the state requirements.
Okay, I looked at the floor plan, sir, and it showed 2.
Can somebody share that with the applicant so we're all looking at the
There's
same
one.
thing?
I see 2. Where's the third one?
Hillary, do we have a copy we can share?
I don't have a physical copy, no, but we have this here.
Hillary, looking at that, do you see 2 or 3? Because I can't see it from here.
One here and one here.
That's a different diagram than what's in our package.
Because the one
Like that
the
one.
one in my packet, I see 2 restrooms,
Yeah,
or
but-
2 bathrooms.
There should
One
be
there,
one here.
one here, and one here.
This is, yeah,
Okay.
this is the one there. Yeah. There is 3.
I'm not denying your testimonies,
Yeah.
but I'm looking at what's in our packet,
Yeah. Can I point where it is?
if you like to.
Sure. It's right here.
In the garage.
Well, that's a whole separate question.
Where is that again, please? If you don't mind pointing. In the garage? So,
So the garage, it's right next to it's still on the inside, but it's right next to the garage, adjacent to the garage. So it's right here.
so my question, if we know, to staff is,
Is it permitted?
Is the third one permitted? Do we know?
Is the permanent bathroom? Yes.
Was it permitted when the house was built?
I don't know.
Or permitted sometime thereafter?
So staff did not review previous permits approved for the site because of the internal layout of the facility is inspected and approved by the state statute for the requirements of the bathroom and the bedrooms.
And we were approved by the state when the new ownership took over.
Understood, but they still have to have a permit through this county. Okay.
May I say, state-wise, it's 1 bathroom per 6 resident.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, any other inquiries from the board? Commissioner Lockhart.
Do we have an idea of what the current number of rescue runs to this facility is?
Staff, do you know?
Do we have something from the fire department?
No, I don't believe at this time we have any statistics for what has been done in the past for the facility. I believe the applicant.
We've got a dashboard that has that on there. I've seen it recently.
Oh, yes, they've got it.
I believe the applicant may be able to speak to that, though, for in the past, how many
Sure.
runs have been.
Yes, ma'am.
On average, how many times a month do you have a rescue? A visit?
Sometimes per month, 0. We will go 6 months without calling any kind of ambulance, and then we may call an ambulance twice for the month. But the ambulance or the fire department, once they enter the neighborhood, the sirens are off. Yeah, if they know they're coming to us, once they get into the subdevelopment, the sirens go off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other inquiries of the applicant or staff? Commissioner,
No,
nothing?
not, well, no.
Commissioner Constantine, do you have anything? Okay. Yes, no?
I'll just say, I have concerns. There are things that we can handle, and then there are things that are to the state. And this is another classic example of us not being able to handle our own situation. But, I live near a hospital and 2 ACLFs. I have no problem understanding, ambulance use and everything else. But I think if going into the neighborhood, that would concern me. This is a 25% increase. I also heard, besides the now 3 bathrooms, that it is a septic tank. And with 8, 9, 10, 11 people in the house, it's a lot of people in the house. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Anyone else?
One other thing. There are 5 people that came to that meeting from the planning board, and there were another 7 letters. I don't know where they are, nor why, but I'm reading their concerns, and they had a lot of concerns.
Agreed. Commissioner Lockhart, I'm sorry to see your hand flash
It's
up.
okay.
Okay.
I was just going to concur a little bit with Commissioner Constantine. My home that now only has 2 of us and 2 doodles living in it is not large enough for the 2 of us to coexist peacefully at times. So I
And
am
5 chickens.
Yes. And they're on the outside, though. I genuinely appreciate the benefit that this facility provides to the community, and I am very torn, honestly, by the benefit that it provides for those who have no other option for elderly family members, and the appropriateness of this location. We have a similar facility on Wayside that is right on Wayside, and it's probably similar zoning, but it is, from my perspective, more appropriately sited with where it's located. It's not in the middle of a neighborhood down at the end of a dead-end street. It just, the location concerns me greatly for the impact on the neighbors.
Commissioner Herr.
So I will tell you that I think there's several things here that the whole thing is unfortunate. Let me just start with that. First of all, I am a client have been a client of a facility like this in a neighborhood with folks that had Alzheimer's. My mother in Deltona, right in the middle of a neighborhood. And I can tell you that fire comes and they turn the sirens off and they do all that because it's a different type of rescue. It is the last place they live, typically. That's your model. And I'm also going to tell you that stuff's not getting flushed down the toilets, folks. It's just not. It's going out in the trash bins. And that's just where you end up at the end of life. And so I have an inclination to want to do this because I think there is not enough of this service level in our communities. The fact that it's in the back of a neighborhood and the neighbors are upset about it, that is not a good place to be. There's all sorts of things that can happen with it. I don't believe that the state is over-regulating in this instance because we could advance it to 8 and they could say yes to 8, or we could leave it at 6 and they're going to leave it at 6. The business model, the reason why I have an inclination to say yes to this is that with the current 6, you're staffing at 1. When you move to 8, you're staffing at 2. The 6 are better off with 2 in the building than with 1 in the building. That's a reality. When the 1 is in the building, there is no witness to what happens in that building. That's between that person and them. And so my heart goes out to the 6 that are there with 1 in the building. Don't love it. And so what I'm weighing is whether or not the neighbors possibly having an ambulance or 2 more often than they would by virtue of 2 additional people in the facility is a bigger detriment to the community than the detriment to the community of having 1 worker in a facility with 6 individuals in this condition. And so for that reason, I would move to approve the special exception and associated development order for an 8-bed assisted living facility in the A1 zoning district on 1 acre located at the east side of Walden's Pond Cove.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I will second only for virtue of more discussion if you think it's necessary.
No, I
Sure.
think we can vote.
Okay, we've got a second, and I've got, my take on it is, sort of runs with Commissioner Herr. I do find value in trying to keep our elderly in close proximity to their families. I find value in trying to keep them in close proximity to an area that they have either worked or lived the majority of their lives, because in my specific experience, them with grandparents, they are much more comfortable in the community that they worked in, lived with the rest of their family for a certain amount of years, instead of being relocated to the other side of town or even another county, which makes it much more difficult for family members to come visit. In this immediate case, what bothers me is moving to the commercialization standpoint in a residential setting. That's probably the biggest holdup I have. I would also argue that we probably don't have enough assisted living facilities in this county as a whole that, first, are convenient, second, that can be somewhat affordable for those that otherwise cannot afford or need Medicaid-type support. But I can't support this motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Laurie?
I do feel for the individuals and their families. For about 5 years, I took care of my dad, and it is not easy taking care of an elderly person, especially when they're ill. The issue that I have with this facility is that when you're going from 6 to 8, the square footage in this building is not increasing, and the building is going to get very tight. I can tell you right now, to put another 2 people in this building with another staff person, that's 3 total, there's not a lot of space. And I really think that there's a reason why the state has the number of 6. And you cannot, in my opinion, be squeezing all these individuals into this small space.
Any further comments?
Mr. Chairman, I just have one thing real quick, because Chief Kinley is watching. To answer the question, this location's had 7 ambulances in the last year.
Okay.
And he got that off of our new dashboard that we got.
Hey, dashboard, great.
Yay, dashboard.
All right, we'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Aye. Motion fails, 4-1. Anyone who want to take a look at another motion?
No.
I will move motion for denial.
I think we just did.
We just did.
Mr.
No,
Chairman,
the
I don't
motion
know-
was to approve the special exception. That motion failed, so now we have a new motion.
Oh, okay. I'll second it.
Yeah, move to deny. Good catch, Jay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Carries unanimous. Thank you all very much. We appreciate your patience with us.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah, good catch. We were all just sitting here staring at you like,
just
no.
did that.
I know.
We just did it?
I can feel the flames in the arrows in there.
Okay.
I'm messing
Thought you
with
had
y'all.
some
of course.
trick up your sleeve.
Never. Next item up will be item number 34, Seminole Science School Expansion Small Scale Future Land Use Amendment and PD Rezone. Quick reminder, for those that may have come in after when we originally started the meeting, we are here today as a continuance on this matter, so we will take only new testimony on new information. We're not going to be rehashing what's already been spoken about and what was presented at the original hearing. So if you'll be kind enough to adhere to that, we would sincerely appreciate it. We are going to have, it's not going to be Mr. Jose Gomez giving this, is it?
No, sir.
Thank goodness. All right, please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Annie Silloway, Senior Planner for Development Services. The Seminole Science School was originally presented on February 11th. Since this item was continued to today's meeting and the evidence and testimony is still on record, at the board's discretion, I can present where I left off in my presentation. Is that okay?
That would be fine with me. Everyone else is good with that? Please proceed.
Thank you. I just wanted to make the board aware that please note that the staff report included in your agenda package is the same presentation that was previously approved, provided to you on February 11th. However, we received proposed conditions from the applicant following the community meeting held on March 25th, 2025, in response to the concerns raised by the adjacent neighbors as follows. Condition C, the floor area ratio reduction went from 0.50 to 0.25. Condition E, the maximum building height reduced from 40 feet to 35 feet, but it's not including the parapet. Condition G, reduced of hours of operation of the field from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. was the previous hours. They reduced it to 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Condition H, the rear building setback increased from 25 feet to 40 feet. Condition I, the north buffer increased the wall height from 6 feet to 8 feet in height and increased the plantings by 50% above the applicable standards in the Land Development Code. Condition L, regular drop-off and pickup for middle school and high school students, 6 through 12 grades, at the new school building will be staggered by a minimum of 30 minutes from the regular drop-off and pickup for the elementary school students, the K through 5 building. Condition S, lighting for the recreational field shall be prohibited. Condition T, outdoor speaker systems shall be prohibited for daily outdoor recreational and school activities, limited up to 4 outdoor special events on the recreational field per school year, which an outdoor speaker system may be permitted. Condition V, turn lanes shall be required from Ronald Reagan Boulevard. Condition W, the recreational field shall be for the exclusive use of the school and shall not be rented out to third parties or otherwise used by any entity. And condition X, 45 parking spaces will be designated for student parking, limited to students in 12th grade, as a lottery system or other similar systems. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Payton. Do we have any inquiries from the board? Seeing none, is the applicant here and wish to make any presentation on the items that were presented today?
They are here.
Mr. Spain, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman. Fellow Commissioners, Brent Spain for the record, Theriak and Spain, 1809 Edgewater Drive, Orlando, Florida. And I would just echo what Ms. Silway summarized on the screen. Those are the additional conditions. As you may recall, the board asked us to participate and host an additional neighborhood meeting with the Lake Mary Woods HOA, which we did do on March 25th. It lasted about 2 hours. And we have really tried to listen, and not only to this board, but to the neighbors, and address the concerns that have been raised and which have been summarized through those additional development order conditions. The only other thing we've done since the neighborhood meeting, Chairman, is we did, even though my client, Summit Construction, has a AICP certified planner on staff, we went and retained an outside consultant to go to the county's website, pull the application materials, and provide a planning and land use analysis. And so that was done by Kelly Turner with Land Planning Group, and we received it yesterday afternoon from Ms. Turner. She's an AICP planner, also a certified floodplain manager. And I just want to introduce that into the record. It ended up being consistent with the staff report. As you know, the staff's recommending approval that were consistent with the comp plan and land development code. And Ms. Turner as well reached that same conclusion. So I have a copy of Ms. Turner's resume and just her report.
That'd be great if you'd pass it to the clerk. Thank you.
And with that, we would just ask you to support the staff's recommendation of approval with the additional conditions.
Understood. Any questions for the applicant at this point? Seeing none? Thank you, Mr. Spain.
Thank you.
We may have some questions in a little bit. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone from the public to speak on this matter?
Yes, sir. There are two speakers.
Okay.
First one is Beck Lester Beam, and then Del Figueroas.
Okay. If you folks would come up.
I don't need to speak. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Will we be able to play that video?
Sure. Can you all cue that video up for this gentleman, please?
Because during the last couple of meetings, there's been some concerns about...
Sir, if you just give us your name and address for the record first.
Sorry. Del Figueroas, 315 Oakwood Court, Lake Mary, Florida. I've been living there since 1989.
Okay. Let's see if we can get your video. Do you have anything else to cover outside of the video, or do you want to narrate the video?
I would like to go through the development order because there's some discrepancies.
Okay, well, you're going to have 3 minutes, so go ahead and get started.
All right, well...
Tell us what's on the screen.
The video was taken through a period of several weeks, and what we wanted to do was emphasize that there is some serious traffic issues now that have not been resolved, and you're going to build on this, you're going to make things worse. I mean, it doesn't make sense. First, at least this should be corrected. Also made use of a drone to just show how bad the lights, the traffic can get turning into the current situation. And as you go through, you will see that there's a couple of cases where there was almost accidents. The way that the roads are used, because there isn't sufficient turning into the school itself, into the mall, people have to go all the way around Wildham, make a U-turn, then get in. And you will see as this video goes through that there's some real significant issues. Well, we're looking at that. Maybe I can go through some of these other ones, including the fact about 45 parking spaces. You will see there's a series of photos that I took in the morning at 7:30 and then 7:30 p.m., how in the morning it's packed at this strip mall. and at night it's totally empty, indicating that the school is using the parking space from the strip mall to park both whoever, teachers, students, whoever is using it, and there isn't currently enough parking space. And you will see that in the photos once this is over. So building upon this without fixing it doesn't seem appropriate, that you should at least correct this. And if you're going to make something twice as large and make the situation worse, for some of us that live behind that in Lake Mary Woods, this is a real issue, getting out in the morning. Could you show the footage?
Which ones do you want?
The ones in the morning. Okay, then I'll quickly go through some of the other items we talked about. And this is from the development order, we talked about having a fence, originally a masonry wall. Now it's a vinyl chain link fence. Are we going cheap on us? Then also the issue about the outdoors. Can you see how this is at 7:30 in the morning, the parking lot is packed. And they're parking in the strip mall. There's not enough space in the school. If you can show then the following one in the evening at 7:30 at night.
I'm going to give you a little latitude, sir, if you could try to wrap it up.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the chain link fence, we originally talked about a masonry wall. That's been done away with. As far as the outdoor speakers, this order mentions that there's going to be 4 outdoor special events. Okay, when you say special events, are we talking about a single day, or are we talking about 4 days, a weekend? All of this affects us who live in the back of the neighborhood. We don't want to particularly have these sporting events where it's disturbing our lifestyle because it's so loud. Let's see, let me continue going through. Also, how do we track any of this non-compliance? Whether it's the sporting events, whether we're talking about not making any U-turns on Weldon and so forth. There is no way to assure any type of compliance. Did we get the other photo?
Okay, sir, we're going to give you 30 more seconds if you can just wrap it up.
All right, quickly, let's see if I can. The other item, and I think maybe one of our other folks can talk, is about the water and the drainage system, which hasn't quite been addressed. But I think our biggest concern really is the way traffic is. From that video, you can see this in the morning or in the afternoon. It's ridiculous. How do you expect us to be able to live there, and just getting out in the morning becomes a traffic hazard? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Figueroa, can I just ask you a question?
Yes.
Just over here, over to your left. Did you take the video that you
Yes.
submitted to evidence?
Except the drone. That
So
was
you
my
did-
son.
Okay. And then the pictures, did you also
I
take
took the
those?
pictures, it was me.
Okay,
They're
thank
still on my
you.
phone.
Okay, that's all I need to know for the record, because
And the
you've submitted them.
Clerk's got a copy.
Great, thank you.
Can I have my-
Board, if you don't mind, Chairman, I'd just
Sure.
like to just make a point of clarification. What was being shown on the video is within the jurisdiction of Lake Mary. It's not within the jurisdiction of Seminole County.
Understood.
So I just wanted to make sure everybody
Okay.
recognized that this is the adjacent parcel.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Dominique, are there any other speakers on this matter?
No, sir.
Okay. With that said, Mr. Spain?
I think you do have some folks that maybe didn't fill out a card.
Okay, have you not filled out a form yet, sir? Okay. If someone would grab this gentleman, come on up, sir. If we can grab a form for this gentleman, and if you'll just fill that out as soon as you're done speaking, so we'll have it on the record. Name and address for the record, please.
Rich Goodwin, 439 Lake Road in Lake Mary.
president of the HOA for Lake Mary Woods.
Sir, are you here to speak on behalf of the HOA? Have you taken a vote by your board of directors?
Yes.
And they've charged you to come here and speak?
Yes.
So are you speaking on behalf of all the residents?
Yes.
Okay, then you will have 6 minutes.
The concern that we've had, and that a number of us were on the March 25th meeting with the builder. Lots of good discussion, very collaborative, very cooperative. But we have a serious concern on the water retention. We have ponds, we have 2 lift stations in our area. One is county maintained, one is maintained by us. Our lift station went through a little cycle where we were contemplating how were we going to deal with a $250,000 repair on that lift station. I'm going to let that sink in. 100 people. In our discussion with the builder, they've done a lot on doing water retention. They've done their analysis on their property. We're looking more holistically of what is the impact going to be to us. I can say I bought my house, no idea of the retention problem. I had my 3rd hurricane. I called the realtor, said, please list my house now. And I want it exclusive access only, boat required. Okay, and the bad part is, my neighbor around the corner had one of those little paddle boats. It was in my front yard. So the issue that I'm seeing or saying is, yes, they may be able to follow the water on the school and kind of say, this is how it's going to go. As an engineer, I'm going to say water takes the least path of resistance. I don't care what you do. I take that back, I do care. The problem that I see is that they're looking at it from these little angles and going over here to this little pipe that's going to drain it, everything's going to be hunky-dory. It's not. So if you approve this, understand you're approving for the school, but the residents are going to be open to fund repair of a lift station that's going to undergo a heavy load. It's going to wear out faster on, and that's going to be on our dime to fix it. We're concerned about it. We're looking to get partial total turnover to county, city. We can't deal with this, and the pipe is not that big where they were showing the drainage from one side to the other to get down into the flow.
So you're aware, sir, this will have to come back for site planning, where all that will be addressed by county staff?
No, I was not.
Yes.
Okay.
This is just a zoning hearing.
Well, okay. It's on the record, correct?
Oh, we've got it all?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's the driver. Ms. Marquardt, I think we would like to talk later. Okay? I don't know what options, we are very concerned about it.
Sure.
Very concerned.
For the record, I'm not the one doing the site planning.
No, I know that. No, I know that. No, as the commissioner. Yeah, I fully understand, I'm sorry. But thank you very much for
You're welcome, sir.
entertaining.
Thank you very much. Any other public speakers on this matter?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Spain, do you care to have a rebuttal? And we will close
Thank you.
public comment and go for the rebuttal.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners, and I'll keep it real brief. One, I just want to clarify, we have not removed the masonry wall. The fence is around the recreational field to keep the kids inside the field and out of the queue lane. And the special events that we referred to, that was something we had put into the condition because most schools, anyone who has a school-age kid in this room knows they do a little fun run or field day. And so we put a limitation on them that they could have 4 of those events per year. The They can have an outdoor speaker system during that event, but the development order requires that it be oriented, pointing towards Ronald Reagan instead of the south, so not directed in any way towards any residential neighborhoods. And then lastly, I appreciate Mr. Goodwin speaking. We did have a good meeting on March 25th, and he was in attendance. I think he even spoke with us after the meeting was over. But obviously, as you know, on the water management, we have to get the St. John's permit. Just on the flow issue, we don't put water into their lift stations, but that was an issue that was brought up and asked about during our community meeting. And Mr. Klotz walked through the diagram on how our discharge goes through the system and doesn't go into their lift stations. But obviously, we still have to get St. John's approval, and as you indicated, Chairman, a site plan approval. So we appreciate your support this afternoon.
Thank you. Any other inquiries from the board? We will go to the board for board action. This is Commissioner Lockhart's. I will go to the county attorney. Do you desire for us to take up 34 and 35 at the same time, or do you prefer them to be done separate since they're intertwined?
No, they should be done separately, please.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Lockhart.
Well, I know this has been a long process for everyone, and I appreciate the folks from the school and the community coming together. I think there's a lot of additional opportunity for working collaboratively with this expansion. I don't think that everyone thinks that it's been as much of a group hug as may have been conveyed. So they say fences make good neighbors. In this case, I'm hoping an 8-foot wall makes a really good neighbor. So I am going to address one item that I believe should be handled at site plan, and so I'm going to make it a part of my motion, but I'm going to tell you what it is ahead of time so that we're all on the same page. This is an SREF requirement, 453.10.5, and it's regarding playgrounds, equipment, and athletic fields, and I'm just going to read it into the record. Playgrounds, equipment, and athletic fields shall be accessible, compatible with the educational facility served, and shall comply with 4.53.10.5.2. Direct access from the school building shall be provided to play areas and athletic fields without crossing public roads, on-site traffic lanes, and parking lots. Currently, the plan would have their students and faculty and staff and anyone else crossing on-site traffic lanes. So that's what I'm going to ask be addressed at site plan. Commissioners, I make the following motion. Based on staff's findings and the testimony and evidence received at the hearing, the board finds the request does meet the identified portions of the comprehensive plan and moves to adopt the requested small-scale future land use map amendment from mixed-use development and low-density residential to planned development. You want these in two separate motions?
Yes, two separate motions, and I'm sorry, Commissioner, can we do the comp plan amendment motion first?
We sure can. Is that the one that's up on the screen right now?
Yeah, motion number 1. So if you could withdraw the motion that you just made and then do motion number 1.
I will withdraw it, and I will cover my left eye so I can read at a distance from my right eye. Monovision's fabulous. Okay. I'm making a motion based on staff's findings and the testimony and evidence received at this hearing, that we find the request meets the identified portions of the comprehensive plan and moves to adopt the requested small-scale future land use map amendment from higher intensity plan development target industry to plan development.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimously.
And secondarily, based on staff's findings and the testimony and evidence received at today's hearing, the board finds the request meets the identified portions of the Seminole County Land Development Code and moves to adopt the requested rezone from PD to PD, an associated development order and master plan development with the conditions that were identified during staff's presentation today, and that the SREF requirement 453.10.5 be addressed with staff at site plan.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous. Thank you, folks. Next item is item number 35, Seminole Science Charter School Interlocal Agreement.
Chairman, I can address this if you'd like me to.
They're going to let Ms. Silloway off the hook?
I will. So this is an agreement that goes with the last approval that you made. There's a small portion of the site that is within Lake Mary's jurisdiction that will be serving as a retention pond, and Lake Mary has authorized the county, has given the county limited jurisdiction over the retention pond property to permit that with the site plan process that we'll go through next for this project. The city has already approved the agreement, did quite a few months ago, and it is consistent with their comprehensive plan and zoning.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak on item 35?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close public input and go to board action. Commissioner Lockhart, this is still in your district.
Still, huh? Commissioners, I make a motion to adopt the agreement as presented in item number 35.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous. Thank you. Now we're going to move into our public hearing legislative portion. Ordinance amending Chapter 95 of the Seminole County Code, Health and Sanitation. This will be presented by Ms. Tricia Johnson.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, Mike Rhodes will be presenting the bulk of this. There we go. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike Rhodes will be presenting the bulk of this, but I wanted to open up this portion of the presentation by first introducing you to John Martin, our new division manager for our code enforcement group, probably the most exciting hire I have made in my decade here at Seminole County government. So just wanted to take the opportunity to welcome John and introduce him to you. This is his second day, and we are meeting later this week to put a list together of all the different opportunities for code enforcement here at the county. Some of your feedback captured today as well.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here and a pleasure to meet each of you.
I have one question.
Sure.
Did you watch the meeting?
Commissioner Constantine?
Thank you. Did you watch the meeting this morning?
I absolutely did.
Good.
I've actually been-
You know what our concerns are.
And I share them. And I've
Thank you.
been doing my homework, watching past meetings so I could catch up to speed, so
It's good to have you, sir.
thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Bless you.
Thank you very much, John. Before we begin with Mike's portion of the presentation, I just wanted to remind you a little bit about our code enforcement journey over the past several months, if we wouldn't mind going to the next slide, please. Thank you. So as you recall, we've had presentations for this board both in September and January. Mike Rhodes kindly provided those updates for us. And in September, we talked about a number of things, some of which are in the process, advancing our software procurement and design of the code enforcement portal through Acela, which is ongoing. Code revisions, you approved, actually, no, we haven't gotten there yet, but you will be approving a portion of the IPMC today, and we will be bringing future code revisions to you later this summer. And you voted to consolidate the code enforcement function under a single organization reporting to the board. We will, now that John has joined the team, overhaul our internal case management process. We are in the process of working with the Sheriff's Office on final staffing and logistics to move the team over by October 1st. As I mentioned, we will be working as a team over the next handful of months on revising our code enforcement procedures and our process and funding. So with that, I will turn the presentation over to Mike Rhodes.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. There he is. And good afternoon, Commissioners. Again, my name is Mike Rhodes. I'm going to talk with you today about the first of our several key code provisions that need to be revised, updated, and in this case, adopted to Today, we're going to be talking with you about adopting the International Property Maintenance Code, the 2024 version of that, and incorporating that into Chapter 95 of the county code. I do want to take a second to thank Jennifer Nix, who's also back there, from the county attorney's office, who really did a lot of the heavy lifting on the adoption and adaptation of the IPMC to what we're going to be looking at today. We're also going to be down the road looking at amendments to Chapter 40, Chapter 53, Chapter 95, Chapter 168, a number of which you contemplated today in your earlier session and even this afternoon with your abatement case, along with some additional amendments to other parts of the Land Development Code that fit into what we do in code enforcement. So today is kind of the light lift in a lot of ways, because this is a model code. The work that's ahead of us is going to be a little bit more complicated, and I'm grateful that John is here to help with that. And I also will appreciate continued support from Jen and the county attorney's office. The IPMC, briefly, IPMC is a minimum standards code. It's the minimum standard for property maintenance, and it's intended to provide a minimum standard, again, for the maintenance of property, whether it's vacant, whether it's single-family residential, multifamily, commercial, provides for the maintenance of those buildings and the maintenance of the, not just the structures, but also the other systems, plumbing, electrical, mechanical, all that good stuff. We want it to be safe, and safe housing is something that's important. Maintenance of housing is important in the long term as it relates to affordable housing and maintaining affordability. So it's a minimum standard, right? It's not going to mean that everything is as you would want it yourself, but it is intended to provide a minimum standard for how every property is maintained in Seminole County once you adopt it. I've kind of run through some of the high points, but again, we deal with exterior maintenance as well as building maintenance, lighting, ventilation. Importantly here, there is an interoperability with the IPMC, with the building code, the Florida Building Code, the Florida Fire Prevention Code. That's also very important, so that all of these things work together in support of one another. The other important thing that this does is it designates a code official so that you all know who's responsible for the enforcement of the code standards, the interpretation of the code standards, and the process itself. So the code official, in the case of the IPMC, includes your new code enforcement division manager, as well as your fire safety marshal sitting over there in the corner quietly. She also helped in our work on this, on the IPMC standards, along with the building official, Phil, who also participated as we went through kind of honing this to Seminole County's unique character. You saw this slide back in September, but I just want to show it to you again. We're not blazing new territory. This is a standard that's been adopted by cities and counties around Central Florida and in truth across the country. So in many respects, we're bringing us up to par with a lot of our neighbors, and I know that we'll do it better, but I want you to know that this is something it's a little. We will.
I
know, John,
we're going to do it better, right on.
Well, I mean, better than some of the folks, right? Not naming names, but at any rate, the IPMC is a standard around the state and around the country, and it's important that Seminole County adopt this standard, I think. Did I jump one? No? I might have jumped one. We do have some local amendments that we're going to be throwing in. The local amendments are pretty benign, but the ICC and the IPMC, the International Property Maintenance Code, references the international codes. And here in Florida, we live by the Florida Building Code and the Florida Fire Prevention Code, and so we're making specific references to those code standards. We're also redefining the code compliance agency officials responsible, again, the fire safety marshal, the building official, and the code official. And the IPMC refers to a board of appeals We don't have a Board of Appeals here. We have a Code Enforcement Board and a Special Magistrate, obviously. And so we've made some minor amendments in our adoption to account for, again, our approach to that. And we do understand that approach may change as time goes on, but we want to get this adopted and on the books now and begin to incorporate it into the design of the new code enforcement platform that will be part of the Excella software implementation, as well as giving our staff time to train and get accustomed to enforcing and utilizing these new standards. So our recommendations, the next step obviously are to adopt the IPMC with the amendments that we've talked about. I do think it's important to maintain an update policy. All of your building codes are updated generally every 3 years, and we think it's important to keep the IPMC current with that. So we're asking you to, at least as a policy matter, be prepared to review the IPMC as you do the building code and the other codes every 3 years. And then, as Tricia mentioned, we've had a code enforcement group working now for some time, and we're going to be working in earnest even more on the additional code amendments as they are necessary. Hopefully, we'll be coming back to you with a workshop here in the next few months to deal with some of the weightier issues that are out there, and we know it. And again, they were part of your agenda this morning and this afternoon, and we're hoping that we can bring it to a little bit more efficient process as we go forward. So the requested action is to adopt the ordinance amending Chapter 95 of the Seminole County Code to adopt the IPMC and the general technical amendments, providing for codification in the code, severability, and an effective date. And I believe our effective date is July 1st of 2025. I think. There's immediate.
Thank you.
Or immediate.
Any inquiries from the board? Commissioner Herr.
Just an easy one. So it did say effective date up until you just said the effective date. Is that effective date aligned with the point at which we're shifting things into our organization? So we're not going to retrain the existing code enforcement officers, et cetera, et cetera.
Our intention is to have everything ready to go October 1st, concurrent with your budget realignment and organizational realignment and everything else.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, is there anyone here from the public to speak on this matter?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close public input, and we'll go to board action.
Chairman,
Commissioner?
I move to adopt the ordinance amending Chapter 95 of the Seminole County Code, Health and Sanitation, to adopt the International Property Maintenance Code with general and technical amendments, providing for codification in the Seminole County Code, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Herr, seconded by Commissioner Constantine. Any further discussion?
Just great work. Thank you.
Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign? Carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Great work. All right, we will move on to the county attorney's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to confirm publicly with the board that we are going to go forward with the closed session next Tuesday, May 20th, at approximately 11 o'clock in the morning, or as soon as your morning session is over. So that has been noticed, and everybody has confirmed their attendance, including our outside counsel, to discuss the River Cross Land Company LLC versus Seminole County case, which I had previously announced many, many meetings ago, but due to scheduling conflicts, it took this long to get it on the calendar. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. County manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. First, I'd like to have Christian Swenson come up and just give you a brief update on our medical examiner status and what action that we'll need from the board so that Commissioner Lockhart can take it to her meeting tomorrow.
You're welcome.
I think of you every time.
I'm sure you do. I can feel the needles going in. Got a voodoo doll.
Yeah.
Commissioners, good morning, or good afternoon. Christian Swenson, Assistant County Manager. Just put a brief PowerPoint together just to summarize kind of where we are and what the plan that we're hoping to present tomorrow is. So just run through the purpose of it, the background, and then obviously a recommendation. So the purpose of this presentation is to provide an update on discussions that have taken place with Lake County regarding the potential redistrict of medical examiners, District 5 and 24, more specifically the desire for Lake County to join District 24 from District 5, and then also to discuss that plan we just spoke about for Commissioner Lockhart to present tomorrow. So the next thing will be the background, what's happened really since we talked about this last. So at the last Medical Examiner Advisory Committee meeting, it was requested that we bring forward a plan as to what the next steps are, what we would like to do going forward. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Also, on February 14th, we received a letter from Marion County asking for reimbursement of an inexact amount regarding expenses put out toward a new medical examiner facility paid for by Marion County. And then also on March 31st, we responded to that letter and requested more information. On April 22nd, the Lake County Board of County Commissioners reviewed this same plan and voted unanimously to approve it and move forward, and also echoed their support of the reassignment request. And then on April 29th, we got a response from Marion County for the requested information. We've reviewed that information. However, there is more information needed, so we're going to be drafting a subsequent letter requesting further information. So let's talk a little bit about the plan. We put together with conversations with Lake County really two options for the advisory committee to consider. The first option is Lake and Seminole continue to operate as District 24 in the current location in Leesburg. District 5 would continue with their plans to build a new building. District 5 would fully support the reassignment of Lake to District 24. And then we have an operating agreement that we all operate under until 29. And we have in there that if everyone's working in good faith, that we would obviously agree to extend it as needed if it was required. And then also it is in this option, the Lake and Seminole would agree to pay a reasonable portion of expenses paid for by Marion. Obviously, what reasonable is would require a full review of the information, and there's still information out there, but we would work in good faith to come up with what that is. The second option would be that Lake and Seminole operate as District 24 in a new location. District 5 would choose to stay in their current location in Leesburg. District 5 would still support the reassignment of Lake to District 24, and then we would agree to extend the agreement as needed if everyone's working in good faith. So those are the options. We would like to request your approval for the chairman to execute a letter to the Medical Examiner Committee Chairman Holly Davis regarding this proposed plan and support of the assignment. And that recommendation is on the screen. If there are any questions.
Any questions for staff at this point? Seeing none, is there anybody from the public to speak on this matter?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, first, I want to thank staff for the work you've been doing. I'd like to thank Commissioner Lockhart for agreeing to take that post. I know it's not an easy one. It's quite the travel going up the turnpike that's always under construction all the way up to Sumter County, and appreciate the good work you're doing over there. I'd also like to thank Chairman Campione over in Lake County and her board for working with us and trying to work through this process. And for me, this is a win-win for both counties, and so I will support moving forward with your recommendation. Commissioner Lockhart?
Well, I think it is a good option. Both options are, I think, good options to put on the table. I think the fact that both of them assume the support of District 5 in the realignment with Lake coming to 24 is imperative. I think a lot remains to be seen from the original public records request. The details that were left out of that are what we need in order to determine what that reasonable amount might be that we would be contemplating offering. So that will be critical in the next steps. I think also what is not said but implied in both options is that we are continuing to operate under our current agreement until that time, until that agreement ends in 2029. And if for some reason we would find ourselves moving more quickly, we would abide by the terms of the agreement, which currently have a notification clause of,
18 months, I believe.
so we would still have to give them an 18-month notification if we were to be able to move faster than 2029. So it is still an incredibly gracious, professional agreement from my perspective. So I'm also very grateful to staff. This has been quite a lift.
Commissioner Constantine, anything?
No, let's
Okay.
approve the recommendation.
Commissioner Herr, anything? Commissioner Laurie?
Let's get it done.
Okay, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve staff's recommendation and a letter be drafted by the chairman to be sent to the medical examiner committee chairman.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimously.
And then, Mr. Chairman, just a couple more items, just to notify the board. So next Thursday, May the 23rd, we're doing the county's hosting a Memorial Day service ceremony at 9 a.m. in front of the Criminal Justice Center. Our Citizens Academy just wrapped up this past weekend. We just concluded it. We had 6 very well-attended academies that we had. The staff did remarkable. I want to thank Chris Patton, Communications Department, and his team, as well as all of our directors who actually helped and the staff who actually helped put that on. This past weekend, we had over 150 people show up at this. It was Parks and Recreation Day, if you will, but it was over 600 participants that we have had attend the Citizens Academy over the last month. So, so kudos to them. I thought it was a great outreach effort by us doing that. And then lastly, just to kudos. Commissioner Constantine mentioned this earlier today, but Guy Cunha was awarded the 40 under 40 from the Orlando Business Journal. I went over there to help celebrate him. It was a great event. And then, you know, our own Alan Harris was awarded the Leadership Legend Award by Leadership Seminole this past week. So I just wanted to congratulate both of them. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go to District Commissioner reports. Commissioner Lockhart.
All right. Well, in keeping with the medical examiner theme, my assistant Patty and I had an opportunity to go out and visit the Leesburg facility. We spent quite a bit of time out there, met with Dr. Wolf and many of her staff members. They are very passionate about the work that they do for our community. They are unsung heroes. It is not built for everybody, and thank God there are people who are willing to do this very hard job. Just an interesting note, of the 25 or so folks who are employed out there, only 2 or 3 are men. There's most of the staff that were actually working doing technical work or some of the actual autopsies, the doctors were all women. The morgue manager, who was a man, was actually the one who pointed that out to me, which is really interesting. So there's definitely a need for more and more people to be interested in this type of forensic work, and if we want to balance it out and have some more men join the fray, I'm sure they'd be welcome. But it was quite an experience. On May 2nd, I attended, along with a couple of other commissioners, Commissioner DeLaurie and Commissioner Constantine, who I think are both on the board of the Orlando Economic Partnership. We were invited, FDOT, David Cook, to give us an update on the Sunshine Corridor for that group, and I was there to be able to talk about it from a local government perspective, and of course, as the chairman of the CFCRC, to kind of make an appeal for the private sector to come alongside and really step up and help us through these next few phases. So it was very well attended, and I hope I didn't embarrass anyone.
Mr. Chairman, can I interrupt the Commissioner for a moment, if you don't mind? She's not really giving herself the credit that she's due, because the person from DOT that was talking about that, he basically, yes, we're doing a Sunshine Corridor, we're moving trains, and we have a lot more work to do.
He's an engineer.
I understand that, but you did a very good job explaining it so that anyone because there's a whole variety of people in that room could understand not just what's going on, but the obstacles. And I want to compliment you on that, because the person that was doing the presentation gave 2-3 sentences, and that was about it. And you just took it from one end to the other and explained it so that if you just walked into the room not understanding anything about the Sunshine Corridor, would understand it, understand the need for it, and understand the obstacles, and you did a very good job.
Well, thank you. It's very kind. I appreciate that.
Good work.
And I was going to say the same thing, but I also said, and then she grabbed the mic and asked for an appeal.
I scared the CFO from Universal Studios. I asked her if I could have the mic back for just a minute to make an ask. And she looked at me like, I don't know, but what kind of ask? So I did give her a little bit of heartburn. But
My apologies, I couldn't make it. I was supposed to be there, but
it's all right.
court hearings.
That happens. Another congratulations to Alan Harris on his Leadership Legend Award. We talked about educational impact fees earlier today, and that letter, thank you all so much for that. Something else was pointed out to me during the break, that we are still waiting for the school district. Also, their 5-year capital improvement plan has not been updated, and we're due, we need it, in order to incorporate it into our documents for this upcoming cycle. So if we could add that to the letter as well.
Sure.
That would be super helpful.
You got it? Okay.
An icon, a matriarch of our community passed away this last week, Mrs. Jerry Weldon. She was the wife of Seminole State former President Dr. Earl Weldon. We referred to her lovingly as the First Lady of Seminole State. She was 90-some years old, just a wonderful mother, grandmother, teacher. She had a true heart for this community, and she will be dearly missed. Her service is going to be this Thursday at 2 p.m. at Markham Woods Presbyterian Church. I'm sure it will be a packed house. A lot of folks will want to be there to pay their respects for Jerry. She's just a wonderful woman. 2 things upcoming. We have a community meeting in East Altamont. Many members of our team are going to be out there to help give variety of updates on things happening, but mostly focused on Rosenwald and where we are with that process. That will be on May 19th at the New Bethel AME Church at 6 p.m. So anyone hearing that wants to come out and participate in that meeting, we would love to have you, and thank you again to all of the staff who's willing to come out and do that meeting with us after hours. Today is May 13th. It is World Cocktail Day. Every year on May 13th, people around the world celebrate World Cocktail Day to appreciate and enjoy the diverse range of cocktails available. It's a day for enthusiasts and professionals alike to experiment with new flavors and honor the historical significance of cocktails. And I think the fact
Does that mean
that's
like a professional cocktail drinker?
or maker, I mean, we've got fabulous mixologists. That's a serious job these days. So I thought it was only appropriate that today being a Seminole County Commission Day and it being World Cocktail Day, they just must know what we do. And that is my report.
And who has the bottle?
It's in her office.
Commissioner Herr, District 5.
We probably should have started the day with that announcement.
We should have done Bloody Marys, yeah.
So I am going to give a shout out as an alumni of this one to Guy Cunha for the 40 under 40, and I don't need to hear the jokes about how long ago that was, but Guy, that is an amazing accomplishment, and you are always a wonderful ambassador for this county, so we appreciate you more than we can say. And that brings me to Alan Harris, who is also an amazing ambassador, and I did attend the luncheon where he was celebrated as the leadership legend, but more importantly, what he said and what he spoke to was supremely important and very touching. Also had the pleasure of attending Oviedo's centennial celebration, and it was one heck of a celebration to include every single thing you could possibly think of. So hats off to the city of Oviedo for knocking it out of the park. I hope that the country's 250th celebration rivals the Oviedo's 100th celebration. So how about that? State of Lake Mary, for the Chamber, the city always does an amazing and entertaining job of bringing everybody up to speed on all of the things that they do. I would tell you that they have in their development department, dashboards that are really awesome. Somebody ought to take a look at them. They're pretty cool. I also attended the Habitat for Humanity Women Builds Award Ceremony. There are an additional, I think it's 6 homes in Sanford, in the Goldsboro area, really across the street, a little bit further down the street from the other 5 that were built. So total of 11 homes that have been built by Habitat in that area. And this one was, the fundraising and all of that was done by groups of women, including the volunteer build. I did pass out to all of your offices the ECFRPC New County Ambassador Program for your situational awareness. And that concludes my report.
Very well. Next up will be Commissioner Delory, District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would also like to sincerely thank Owen Reagan for being on top of a situation this past week with all the storms that we've had. There was a situation on Eagle Circle and Deer Run that with all the rains we had, they were doing some pipelining and on stormwater, and the contractor inadvertently, even though we were asked to remove all the plugs before the rain hits, they forgot to remove 1 or 2 of them, and a couple of roads flooded. And Owen and the public works staff was truly on top of it and was able to get it fixed before it had some serious issues. So please, Mr. Slott, thank Owen and his staff for all their hard work in getting out there and truly getting it done. We've all complimented Alan Harris. I couldn't be there for the luncheon. I was at a DOT Safety Summit up in Daytona, representing Metro Plan, and I wanted to compliment Alan for the award, as well as the wonderful things that DOT is doing with safety in not just our area, but all different 9 different counties. I did attend the Citizens Academy events, a number of them. The last one I attended was this Saturday, and it was truly amazing to see all the different citizens, not just staff, but staff did a phenomenal job. And I compliment staff for not only putting it together, but getting the word out there. I think it's a better way to do it. It's more cost-effective, I would think, getting it out there, and it's more allowing the citizens to be more participating with the staff, so well done. And then item number 17 that we approved today, which is the Lake-to-Lake Regional Multipurpose Trail. That I'm glad we were able to put that on our agenda today, because tomorrow at Metro Plan, that'll also be on our agenda. And if we can get the 2 other counties to approve, which would be Orange and Osceola, then it'll be put on a long-range plan, and there'll be additional funding available additional new funding available to try to get that trail done. So I want to thank you all, as well as staff, for putting that on our agenda. And that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. District 3, Commissioner Constantine.
Thank you very much. I'll add my congratulations once again to Alan and to Guy. Both of them are great additions and great assets to this community. In addition to being National Cocktail Day, it's also National Apple Pie Day. I think the 2 of them could go really well together. Maybe make one apple pie moonshine tree or something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I said, if they're going to be pointing this stuff out, they should be bringing these products to the meeting.
Sampling?
I'm still waiting for the donuts, though. Also, all of us are involved in a great deal of charities and community events, and I just, I'm so proud of all of you for all the things that you do. I do like to point out sometimes, Commissioner Zimbauer, you did a remarkable job at the Boy Scouts.
Thank you, sir.
And Bob,
Appreciate the support.
you did a remarkable job at the Kids House. Wanted to congratulate both of you. Andrea, almost everybody, I think, was at the 100th anniversary, and that was wonderful. It really was. Enjoyed, and we've already said to Amy what a great job she did over at the OEP, and you really did. I was very proud of you. I was sitting next to you. Also,
You kept offering me cookies.
I did.
I can't sit next to you
Incentive.
anymore. You're going to keep offering me bad
Yeah, people were
things.
starting to wonder what was going on, Lee.
See?
There you go. Also, it seems like, I want to give a shout out to our fire department also. It seems like every week, one of the stations is having a life-saving awards event. The most recent was over at Station 12, which is one that I'm very familiar with on Douglas, and remember the days when it was in Altamont and I was still there, and I would go there and work out with the fire department many years ago. But it was wonderful to see those guys and gals and how great a job that they do. I also wanted to say that on the 2nd of May, the county manager, I think Commissioner Deloria and I were all down at the OEP regional leadership, and I think that was another event that really showed a lot of the community together and brings together, as all of us have been supportive of the regionalism that I think that is so important that we continue to maintain and work with our fellow local governments all over Central Florida. On the 8th of this past month, I had the occasion to go to the Rising Achievers Program. It was put on by a Rotary Club that I was a member of that has now kind of folded into the Lake Mary Rotary Club. And I want to tell you what a great, first of all, they give 2 awards, 2 scholarships to needy seniors at every one of our high schools. So there's 18 $1,000 awards. And these students, not only, their stories, many of them are remarkable and uplifting, and how they were able to achieve with so many adversities and so many family problems, and to the point that there was one child that had been homeless since she was 14, on her own, since she was 14. And every one of them had great grades, were moving on to college, and most of them, to, I think, our benefit, were going to Seminole State or UCF, or both, saying they were going to go to UCF after Seminole State. But I wanted to give a shout out to also Seminole State, because every one of the students that were going there, in addition to the $1,000, John Gillen got up and he gave another $1,000 to those students that were going to Seminole State. Wow. In addition, someone that is another icon of this community that's passed, Dee Dee Schaffner, through her foundation, gave another $600 to each one of them. So you add that $2,600, that's the first year of education at Seminole State. I thought it was funny that John got up and said, and if anybody who has already chosen another school wants to start at Seminole State, you can get the $1,000 too. And a lot of them started moving to Seminole State. But it's something that I think that really shows the character of this community. This wasn't about those that had the highest grades. It was about those children, those seniors in high school that really went above and beyond personally to improve themselves. I'm always uplifted by that particular program. So I wanted to give a shout out to Lake Mary's Rotary for picking it up, and for there was many of those that were still that had been with South Seminole that were there also. So it was a collaborative, and it was a wonderful collaborative. I did want to tell you that as most of you know, I came back from Washington, D.C. recently. I was at the opioid, the task force, the national task force that I am a member of. And I did want to tell you that there were 16 counties that were highlighted for the achievements and the work that we have done in opioid abatement. Above and beyond the sheriff, but one of the things that's very good for us is that our sheriff has been so much involved. But we were one of the 16 counties that was recognized and for our achievements. And, we were looking at analytics and statistics and dashboards and everything else. But one of the things, I finally came out, but the number one statistic I said that matters the most is, how many deaths have we avoided? And, the average in the United States is between 20 and 25% reduction. We're at 42%. So I think that that's remarkable that we have been able to do that. But I also took and have information on all the other 15 and what they've done. A lot of them have some really unique ideas, and some of them are in very difficult situations like Wayne County, Michigan, and other places like that, Boone County, Kentucky. And so I have all those available. Beatrice has those available, and I've shared them with Kelly, which, by the way, Kelly Welsh, if I want to give her kudos, because she's been remarkable at what she's doing there and has been a great partner with me when I'm going to these events and helping me get up to speed on what we're doing, and so that I can also present some things up there, and also the sheriff and what he's done. I want to just give him credit, but Kelly's been remarkable. She really has, and I wanted you to know that, Darren. I think we've made that clear, but she's doing an incredible job. Bob pointed out, Commissioner Delory pointed out that Metro Plan is going to be meeting tomorrow. Also, the Wekiva Wild and Scenic, which is a national group that is sponsored and paid for by the federal government through their funding, and Nancy Prine, one of our good citizens, is the chairman of that. They're having a meeting tomorrow also. And in addition to the Rosenwald meeting on the 19th, also I believe the Greater Orlando Sports Commission is going to have an event at Top Golf for Division II tennis championships, which are going to be in Seminole County all that week, next week. And I think that's a great event that we're going to be being able to participate in, and I'm hopefully bringing a lot of folks in to watch that great tennis being played. And with that, all I have is I do have an advisory board committee appointment to reappoint Mr. Harry Ellis for the Port Authority for a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2028. And I would make that as a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous. I always have to look.
I understand
right.
why you would be a little nervous
Right,
lately.
left.
Like, just want to make sure, like, are we good? I don't know. I get it.
Put it forth first.
All
Thank
right.
you, that's it.
Well, you all have covered most of the events, but I do want to once again congratulate Guy and Alan Harris, two great employees of this county that are really doing great work. I mean, we've got a lot of employees that are doing great work. These two have just been, of course, recently recognized, and then we've been around them and saw all the accolades that they've received and all the achievements that they've taken. It really speaks well of Seminole County. Airport update. Airport passenger count is up. We are 15.6% up this past month, which is good news, and 4.2% up in passenger count year to date. So headed back on the right plane, getting back to 2019 numbers. Also, Legion is picking up this fall a new destination, which is Columbia, South Carolina. For those that
got to go there.
Want to go to the Gamecock games.
South Carolina University's there, as well as a big Army base, so I think they've decided that that's a good destination, so they expect a lot more travelers there. The Sanford Orlando International Airport is continuing to have dialogue and discussion with possible new airlines that may consider coming, which may be some good news later this fall, maybe the first quarter of next year. Of course, with the FAA and what's going on right now with the air traffic controller issues, it's a moving target on what's going to really happen, but the indications are that under the new president, things are going to get quite interesting in getting things more updated as far as travel goes, and maybe get travel back to where it's more pleasant for more passengers. Also, I was not able to make the women's build at Habitat for Humanity, but I was able to get my own private tour on May 6th. I appreciate the folks over at Habitat for Humanity. I also agreed to chair their October 6th CEO Builds initiative, which will be a fundraiser, and I guess we'll all be out there hammering nails and screwing screws and building homes at the same time. So that's my next fundraiser event will be coming up this fall. Also want to remind everybody next week, 20th through 24th at Boom Boss Soldiers Creek is the FHSAA softball championship, state championship, which we're happy to host here in Seminole County, which should be a great event and also a good economic driver for our hotels, our restaurants, and so forth. I also have a at-large appointment to make, appointing past Mayor Charles Lacey of Winter Springs to the Sanford Aviation Noise Abatement Committee, fulfilling the role as a non-impacted resident.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. And outside of that, I will be accompanying the county manager on Thursday at Orange County we've been invited down to speak about the one penny infrastructure sales tax initiative. And I think Alachua County has been invited down as well to be quizzed and give recommendations or our experience and what the one penny's done for us. So I'll be down there with the county manager this Thursday. With that, that's all I have. And so we will go to public input for non-agenda items. Do we have anybody, Ms. Dominique, here to speak? We do not? I think we do.
We do.
Mr. O'Hanlon.
You wouldn't know that, though, Dominique. He's keeping his form a secret.
Mr. O'Hanlon, welcome.
Greetings. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
If you just put your address on the record for us, it'd be great.
827 North Division Street, Oviedo, Florida. And we'll have two overheads. Just wait a minute, I'm not ready for them yet. I think you all know that we are on the cusp of some of the largest improvements to personal and public transportation from a cost and efficiency standpoint that's probably ever happened. And it's just around the corner. It has not happened yet. My son was insistent. He said, Dad, when you get there, ask how many people in the audience, which we really don't have many, got a car to drive them here today and be personally chauffeured. And I'm sure I'm the only one. But by next year, there will be many, many people who just have their cars chauffeur them here. Yeah, I'll do the first slide. And where this is basically going is that public transportation in the county costs us a lot of money. And the new driverless technologies will enable us to significantly decrease the cost of public transportation. In order to utilize this technology that potentially is available here in Florida, December of this year, you have to have a vehicle that can become driverless. At the moment, there's only two out there. There's Waymo and there's Tesla. So these are some of the costs. Waymo cars are around $200,000. Tesla cars are about $50,000. Cybercabs, which will be starting to manufacture next year, are $20,000. And the Robovans, I'm swagging $120,000, and those are 20-passenger vans. The quantity available, there's only 700 Waymo cars. None of them are in Florida. There's 1.5 million Tesla vehicles out there. There's 200,000 in Florida that by the turn of a switch at the end of this year are driverless. There's no Robovans. Cost of the driver for any of these is zero, which is basically the biggest cost of transportation. The cost per mile for Waymo is greater than $1 a share. They charge $2, $3 a mile, and Waymo is not making any money, so it's much higher than $1 per mile. The Tesla's about 20 cents. The Cybercabs are going to be about 10 cents. The Robovan carrying 20 passengers will be even less than that. Is a mobile app available? And we all know on Waymo it is because people are calling up Waymo cars. There is a Tesla app to call up cars. It's on my phone right now. I'm not allowed to use it, but it's available in Austin, Texas today. The Tesla system is supposed to go live in about, I don't know, maybe 5 weeks in Austin, Texas. So this is real. It's happening right now. What my concern is that as we transition to better public transportation in Seminole County, you can put up the second slide. My recommendation is that whenever we accept someone to do the public transportation here in Seminole County, that they need to utilize vehicles that are either driverless or will be driverless very soon. And along with that, with whatever contract that we sign with these people, when these cars go driverless, the Seminole County ratepayers, taxpayers, get the reduction in cost, which will be huge, to provide this public transportation for Seminole County. I think that the path that you guys are taking to go to personal public transportation, greatly improving the service to the public here in Seminole County, greatly reducing the cost of public transportation here in Seminole County, is absolutely phenomenal. Starting it now is a great idea. We just need to be concerned that we don't sign up for a contract that is too long, so when this type of technology goes live, we're not stuck in a contract that we're going to basically pay more than we need to pay. So, thank you for doing such a great job for Seminole County. You guys are very, very concerned with the ratepayers here and the taxpayers. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and everyone else appreciates that. So this is what's coming at us. We need to make a good decision with it. Any questions?
Any question, Mr. O'Hanlon? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for bringing this information to us.
Mr. Chairman, if we could just ask our staff to look at this to make sure that as we move forward that this could be addressed in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion.
I would also like to volunteer, whoever in your staff is running this, if he's never been chauffeured by a Tesla,
Yeah, we should.
Then I volunteer, just have him give me a call, and I'll have the car drive him around.
Tom, you may be asking for too much, because I'm sure he'll be taking you up on that every day.
No, just for a one-time demo.
Commissioner Constantine, then Commissioner Lockhart.
I think in the discussions that we had with Micro Transit the other day, I and maybe some others asked the same question about would our contract be made available so that we would be able to transition into the driverless, and the answer was yes.
Commissioner Lockhart.
Well, I was just going to ask if Christian Swenson would be willing to come up and give us.
Yeah, he just actually told me I could, we have a renegotiation clause in there, so that will be in the contract.
And for those who haven't had the ability, unfortunately, when I could not make the meeting last week because I was stuck in Miami for a big trial, I did have the opportunity to ride in one of these driverless Teslas. Pretty wild. And especially in downtown Miami, going from downtown Miami out to the port of Miami and back, which it literally is all under construction. And I'm sitting in the back seat going, well, this is going to be real interesting, because the street light's out, they got people directing traffic for the construction crews, and I'm like, this is not going to be good. It was almost seamless. I mean, it was a little hesitation as it determined what really was going on, but no less efficient than, your average driver. The technology's come a long way. It's come a long way in the automotive industry, and I think we are moving into a future Jetsons setting. I'm personally waiting for the flying cars, and so.
We're talking about that at CFX.
It's perfect.
And the planning, and we probably.
I'd love to be a test pilot and a guinea pig.
We need a president. We may volunteer you early on.
That's perfect.
We may need a presentation that has some planning impact.
That's right.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, being that Mr. Hanlon is here, he does sit on the Citizens Advisory Board for Metro Plan Orlando. I want to thank him for his time with that. But in all the years that I've known Tom, he has been very much proactive when it comes to technology, and he has brought in very early on with the Tesla issues, and he's been pushing that for years at MetroPlan, so I want to thank him for his leadership on that as well. So thank you, Tom.
Good work.
Thank you, Bob. And it is a challenge pushing it at MetroPlan, because just like you're saying, it's the Jetsons. No one believes it's true.
Right.
I generally need to just let my car drive them once, and then, Jerry Demings was the most amazing individual, because he was like panicked, right? The car drove him for about a mile. He whips out his iPhone, and of course the car starts freaking out, because you're not allowed to have your iPhone out while the car is driving, right? I said, Jerry, put the phone down, look out the window, and then the car obviously relaxes. He goes, Tom, that's a great feature. And I'm thinking to myself, no, it's not. How do you get any work done while the car's driving you around?
Right. Well, thank you again, Tom, very much. We appreciate you being here. All right.
Thank you for all the great work you all do.
Thank you again. Do we have anyone else here to talk on non-agenda items?
No, sir.
Anything else for the good of the order? Then we will adjourn the county commission meeting. Thank you all very much.